All right, everyone, welcome back to our last week of our gaming podcast where Stone has kind of taken away the lead for weeks and weeks, and Jamie and I have half as many wins. So we're heading into the last week. Normally, this would be very competitive, a lot of picks sniped from each other, a lot of head to heads, but in this case, Stone is in first place with 121 wins. Jamie's in second place with 68 wins. I'm in third place with 65 wins. Um, and we are hovering right around as a team, even units. And so I think the goal should become. Thank you, Cove. I think the goal should become trying to get even units. But I'll pass it over to Stone because he is going to be the 2024 champion.
Yeah, even though last week was absolutely terrible, I feel like we didn't properly account for playoff football, where teams are just throwing new looks out there on defense, and it seems like offenses seem to struggle a little bit again last week, but going to bounce back this week. And I would argue that it is still pretty competitive between you and Jamie, just the three wins apart. So it's definitely some competition there at least.
Yeah, you gotta come on. You gotta spice up the podcast somehow. Me and Connor, 3 wins apart. 6 units apart. I'm on the downward slope, so I'm trying to get positive here, at least for units wise. On my player picks, it's not possible unless I do some ridiculous picks for my games. So yeah, there is the battle of second place. Don't want to be last place by any means.
Yeah,
So
and Connor, I would say Connor, if you finish last, you would be last 2 years in a row. The creator of the podcast, the creator of this challenge, and you are the biggest loser. It seems like
Back to
if you
back
lose this week.
seasons, biggest loser, coming off of a 16 and 18 week for us. Um, yeah, had high vibes last week. What saved us was the touchdown parlay hit for the third time this year, so that saved us. And then on the other side of that was the Commanders winning made the season. So um, I'm trying not to come in last place, but I think things are going to get unhinged here in a second when we start picking and everyone has the same picks. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
so with that being
Okay.
said, I'll pivot us over into week 20, which is the final week that we're going to have here. Jamie's going to pick first on the game side. He is back to 3 picks, and then myself at 5, and then Stone at 5. So, Jamie, whenever you're ready.
All right. So for my first pick, I'm going to go with Washington over 23.5 team points, and that's at minus 108. I think last week you saw, I think just in general, we do not have faith in our kicker. And I think a lot of people thought we are just going for it on fourth down because that's how Dan Quinn is. I think part of that is true. I think the other part is we tried out like 3 additional kickers this week. So I think they have no faith in the kicker whatsoever. So if we're on the other side of like 40, we're gonna go for it it's 4 down territory. So all game long. I think we can cover this. Um, we'll see. Should be a high scoring game.
Yeah, this wasn't one of my first picks, but it was on my backup list, which I'm gonna be going into. I think fairly confident. So this was one of my picks as well.
All right. So, I'm going to take one that I thought everyone was going to pick for their first one. Uh, Perhaps game of the year here for maybe the best football game. I know they tried to bill it as the Vikings in Detroit, and that was a stinker, but I'm going to take Baltimore Buffalo over 51 and a half. That is at, as of this morning, minus 105. This game has unhinged written all over it. Both quarterbacks can do things that a lot of others can't, and really a career game for both quarterbacks. It kind of put them in position to try to unhinge the Chiefs here later down the line. So that's where I'm going with that.
Yeah, this is probably the worst week to go last out of all the weeks, and I've gotten sniped twice already. I mean, that's to be expected, I guess. But I'm gonna my pick. I'm gonna stick with that game. I'm gonna have to take a team total, so I'm gonna take Baltimore over 26 and a half at minus 102. I like the over. So I imagine Baltimore's gonna score a lot of points. So I'll take this as my backup pick.
Yeah, honestly, this game scares me. It's been years since the Buffalo played the Ravens. Kind of very limited Lamar, I guess you could say. And I just think, especially after last year, them going out on like a 6 rush performance, is they're going to run the ball. They just ran it 30 what times versus Pittsburgh. I don't think they changed that at all. So that's what I didn't like about this game is if I'm Baltimore, I'm trying my hardest to run it 40 times. And if they run it 40 times, I don't know how you get the 52 points. But it could get unhinged. So I'll let you
Unhinged.
guys have that one. For my next one, I'm going to take Houston plus 8.5, and that's at minus 112. Just from like a regular season standpoint, KC has not blown anyone out all year. So I don't know how they're getting this many points when Houston played really well last week. I don't think they win, but giving up more than a touchdown, I think they should be able to cover that, but we'll see.
All right.
Yeah, I've gotten sniped. Every single one of your picks, your guys' picks, has sniped mine so far. So
All right.
this
Maybe
is
this
great.
isn't one that we'll have here. I was just looking at the news today. I think it said Zay Flowers was questionable. Um, and so I'm gonna take the 1.5 for Buffalo at minus 118, which seems like the line's gonna move here pretty soon to 1. Maybe it'll be a pick 'em by the time the game starts, but in a game like this where both teams can win on a multitude of different scripts, I'll take the points, and that's that.
I will take the head-to-head on that. I'll take
Nice.
Baltimore minus 1.5 at minus 102. I think Baltimore seems to have the Bills' number in recent history, and I think the Ravens have really gotten hot at the right time. So I think they're gonna continue that. And like Jamie said, I think Derrick Henry's gonna get a lot of this ball. And the Bills' rush defense is their weakest point. It seems like.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. If there's any weak part about either of these teams, it's Buffalo's rushing defense. All right, so for my final pick, I'm going to do Philly and Los Angeles under 43.5 at minus 112. Besides like last week, the Rams have not been scoring a bunch. I think they've been in the teens like those last couple of weeks of the regular season. We just saw last game with Philly. That was only 32 points, and it's supposed to snow. So I think it's going to be a lot of Saquon controlling the clock, keeping the ball. You only have to win by a point.
All right. I don't know how I feel about that one. Not yet. I got a different one on my board here, but maybe I'll get sniped and have to go against you. Next one for me, Washington plus 8.5. I know we did the team total already, which is nice to kind of get away from the spread in case things get kind of weird out there. But 8.5 is a lot at this place in the playoffs. Whoa, that's crazy. He just ate John Bates' head off. Anyway, I forget what I was saying, but I got 8.5 on Washington, and last week they were winner for me. I'm gonna ride these guys until they lose. They're my team.
I don't know if that was a good omen with Cove just biting off the head of
I
a
don't know,
Commander's
John
player.
Bates. Yeah, or not Jesse
This
Bates. That's
time,
who it was. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
What are you
I
doing?
thought it was Commander's player. All right, well, never mind.
You ain't even got no teeth.
Take it away, Stone.
all right. What Jamie said kind of scares me a little bit, but I think Philly will still be able to beat the Rams, especially at home. I think Philly's defense is pretty strong. They've got a strong offense with Saquon. I think he's going to get the ball a lot, and I think they cover the spread. So Philly minus 6 at minus 110.
All right. So we each have two more, and my board is becoming thin. I got sniped on Houston plus 8.5 today. Washington team total. So one of the ones I have way down here, and I know Jamie said it's going to snow, and they haven't been scoring a lot of points. Well, if they want to beat Philly, they're going to have to. And this was one of the lowest team totals of the week, and that is the Rams over 17.5. That's at minus 112. Don't love being on the other side of 17, but 3 touchdowns wins this, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals wins this. Again, the lowest one, and hopefully we see some playoff Matthew Stafford. That's what I'm hoping for, some actual
Or at least-
competitive games this week.
Yeah, I was say at least better game than last week, right?
Yeah. All right.
Not a
Well,
lot of
Jamie
good
sniped the
games.
team total. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Jamie sniped the team total for Washington. If Washington hits their 23.5, there's no way I can see the Lions not scoring at least that much or at least getting close to that. So I'm just going to take the game over here. 55.5 is a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but the Commanders defense doesn't scare me. The Lions defense super banged up. And I like Washington's team total, so I'll take 55.5, even though it's a lot at minus 110.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking back to the Tampa game, if Tampa doesn't fumble twice, I think they have 34 points at least. So do with that what you will.
Yeah, I picked the over on that game. That worked great. I'm pretty sure.
All right. I kind of have exhausted my list, so I'm going to take a head-to-head. And we're not good with picking this team. I'll get the more detailed stats. I'm going to go head-to-head. Kansas City minus 8.5. They're coming off a bye. Mahomes didn't get picked for the Pro Bowl. I think we see vintage Kelsey today. I think things are going to look, the Chiefs are going to look like they're supposed to look now that it's for the playoffs. And that is at minus 108. I think they roll. They played a couple weeks ago, and it did not go well for Houston. And I think we're going to get a different kind of Chiefs team coming off a bye here.
Got a couple head-to-heads.
Got a couple head-to-heads.
Yeah, I think that's just the nature of it at this point. Sticking with that game, I like Jamie's line more than the line you just took. So I'm going to take Houston's team total of 16.5, over 16.5 at minus 102. If Houston wins this game, I feel like they have to score at least 17 points. And it's a super low line. Even if they lose, I think they're within range of 17. It's just 2 touchdowns and the field goal. So I will take that.
The weather's supposed to be like there. It's got to be like 2
Cold.
degrees there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Super
I don't think
cold.
it's going to snow. Usually it's dry, right?
And Houston plays in a dome and in Texas, and so they might not be ready for that.
You think there's some cold weather bias going to happen?
I think there's some cold weather
Shock
bias
their
that's going to
system.
happen. Andy
Shock the
Reid
system.
coming off a bye, a team that's used to playing in a dome. They just got beat a couple weeks ago. I don't know. I'm not getting good vibes from the Texans.
As it is 22 degrees, but it feels like 10 degrees in Kansas City. So
I'm not ready for that.
Oh.
I'll be having that in a couple weeks. I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, it's
All
supposed
right.
to be really cold next week.
Yeah, we're supposed to get snow in Florida. It's crazy. I don't think it will, but that's what they're saying. Okay, that's going to max us out for the game side of things. A lot of head-to-heads, a lot of snipes. That's what happens when there's only 4 games. And so with that, hopefully some of those picks, Jamie and I head-to-head, I can pass him on the leaderboard. On the next side, Jamie's going to have 6 picks, Stone's going to have 10 picks, and I'm going to have 2 picks. So Jamie, whenever you're ready.
I'll take it away. All right, I think I picked this guy 2 weeks in a row. We're going with the triple crown here. Derrick Henry over 96.5 rushing yards, and that's at minus 110. That one I figured would be a popular one. We talked about it. Buffalo's run defense is the weak point. I don't know how you pick between him and Lamar, but the Steelers picked him, and he still had 138 or over 130 rushing yards. So.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna pick this one. I put it on my list anyway. I was gonna take it first, but for some reason you didn't take this. But yeah, It was number one on my list. And then is it me next?
Yep, you're next.
All right. Well, I took this guy last week, and I'm gonna take him again. Scary Terry, over 68.5 at -115. Lions defense, like I said, doesn't scare me, and I think Terry's gonna need to have another big game if they're gonna stay in this game. And he seems like he gets a ton of big plays, which is kind of scary a little bit, but I think he can get there. I think he crushed his line last week, so we'll take it.
Yeah, I think the Lions defense scared me a little bit until I saw old Darnold go against the Rams, and it looks like he was seeing ghosts, and it makes me think that maybe he was just seeing ghosts.
It was a Darnold problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So I got this one from a Barstool podcast, so I didn't come up with this one on my own. I'll just throw that out there. But I love the stat. It was that in regular season, Mahomes averages 20 yards per game rushing. In the postseason, he averages 29. His line is 24.5 right now at -120, which is a little bit chalky. But I will take that 24.5. It's below his average and for the playoffs. And the other kind of nice thing about this is when he runs like that, I hate watching it. And so at least now, if he does that, I will be happy that he is going to win me a bet.
Is it a fake going out of bounds for you?
Yeah, the fake going out of bounds stuff, the like slowing down, and then I don't know. I don't like it. I think there should be a rule against that. And so now, at least when he does it, maybe I'll win $10 on it.
There is a rule against fake sliding. They definitely have that one, but
They definitely have that one.
the out of bounds one, I mean, that one's hard to enforce, right? But anyways, when I was looking at all these picks, man, that one seems to be a little abbreviation, but we talked about how the game's a little wonky. When I was looking at all these picks, it seems like Vegas was just going with the average for the whole season, which confused me a little bit. But Jahmyr Gibbs averages 83 yards per game on the season. His line, 83.5 yards. We are one of the worst rushing defense. That's -115. So I don't know how he just has an average rushing game. I know Montgomery's back, but do you really give him a full workload after not playing for a month on a knee that they thought it might have been season ending? I don't know.
I thought that was season ending.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Well, he went
crazy.
to like 3 different doctors. The first 2 were
God.
like, "Yeah, you need surgery," and then like the third one's like, "Yeah, you're good."
Yeah, so I think him coming back is like it's kind of like a motivational thing. It's like the Ray Lewis had a torn tricep and they got to the Super Bowl. Like he's gonna be there, whether or not he takes enough away from Gibbs is another question.
It might be like a goal line thing too.
Yeah.
They might just like
Goal
put him
line,
out
yeah.
there for the goal line. All right, my next pick. I picked this last week and he didn't get it. But I think this game's gonna get unhinged, like Connor said. I think Josh Allen gets an anytime touchdown for +110. The odds are better this week, and I like it.
Yeah, I had this one on my board. Absolutely.
Yeah, I liked the pick last week. I had it on my ticket from what you guys said. I was kind of disappointed it didn't happen, but
I think it was also Denver really didn't put up much of a fight at all, so he didn't really need to put himself out there.
they did on the first drive, and that was it. Dang, Cove.
Yeah, that was about it.
I'll make my pick quick, and then I'll move. I'll grab Cove. But I'm just gonna finish the season picking what my favorite player this year, Zach Ertz. I think in order for him to win the game or even keep it close, they're gonna have to score points. The team total was the first pick, +8.5. Some of the things we saw. His line was lower than De'Ami Brown. It was lower than Zacchaeus, and so it fit right in with what I was looking for, which is 29.5 at -110. So that's going to be my final pick on the player side. Now me and Cove will be quiet, and you guys can duke it out.
All right, back to me. I don't think Ertz has hit his line last week, so
He did not.
that worries me a little bit. For my next pick, I wanted to go Brian Robinson. I really do with his under because he's an under machine. But they set it at 35, and that's getting pretty low. So that scared me a little bit. So I just want to do a little different pick. Brian Robinson over 9.5 receiving yards. This is the classic Connor. The one catch, and he could get this. This is at minus 105. I think I saw a little bit last week. Is if he can't run the ball, they kind of throw him like a little swing pass with a blocker in front, and it kind of works just like a run. Give them a little bit more space.
I like it. This next pick, so we mentioned it for the touchdown parlay, and we were shocked he wasn't picked yet. So I'm going to take him for a player prop. Somebody can still take him for the touchdown parlay, but Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown at
Oh,
minus
damn.
115.
There's another snipe. I absolutely had this one too. That was gonna be my last pick. So we'll get back to it. Yeah, if they get down to the goal line, it's automatically him. It's supposed to be a low scoring game, so love that pick. So for my next one, a guy that I hope they've saved for the whole season, Travis Kelce, over 5.5 receptions at minus 120. I think he's been saving it up all year. We will see, but I do believe it's minus 120 that Mahomes, when push comes to shove, he's going to rely on his veteran guys and not those newbie receivers.
I think this was your first pick of the regular season as well.
Like a circle.
All right. Talked about this game of the year. I think it's going to get unhinged, and I think Lamar is going to have a big game. So I'm going to take his rushing line, which is incredibly high. It's 55.5. I'm going to take that over for minus 110.
This is just Snipe City. I was gonna do both of these because, like I said, it is my belief they're going to go out there and run it 40 times. If you don't run it 40 times, fire your offensive coordinator because we saw what happened last year. You run it 6 times, you lose. You run it 35 plus times, you win comfortably. Go out there and run it, whether it's Lamar, whether it's Derek. Run that stupid option. The defense has to pick one. The other is going to get at least 5 yards. It's unstoppable. So I love this pick. I will go with the similar quarterback, Jaden Daniels, at the exact same line, 55.5 at minus 115.
This was going to be my next one.
We have no rushing attack. He is the only guy. Same way, push comes to shove, he scrambles.
Yeah, this is going to be my exact same pick for pretty much the same reasons. Game's going to get unhinged. Daniels is going to have to take the ball in his hand and get some big plays. So I like that a lot. For my next pick, this is more of a Connor pick. I'm going to take a tight end over Dalton Schultz. The Kansas City Chiefs, one of their biggest weaknesses has been tight end all year. And I think Dalton Schultz, his line's at 39.5 at minus 110. I think he'll get a couple catches, even though he's not a great player, but we'll take it.
Great player.
Great for bets. So for my last player pick, I'm not going to put this guy in the touchdown parlay, so I wanted to get some airtime on this guy before we wrapped it up for the season. Mr. Ty Johnson, hailing from Cumberland, Maryland. I'm going to do with a Ty Johnson anytime touchdown. That's plus 550 odds. We're taking her home. I'm getting some units here, buddy. Talk about one of the best third down backs in the league. You saw an amazing touchdown last week. And I think with the Ravens secondary looking better, Ty could sneak one in.
Josh Allen said that himself.
And then with a bang.
Yeah, Josh Allen said that himself. Best third down back in the league. Love that.
All right. So I saved these for last usually because people usually don't take unders, but I'm gonna have a few running back unders here. because I know they won't get sniped. First one, it's going to be Kyron Williams under 18.5 rush attempts at -105. Eagles rush D is elite. I don't think the Rams are going to force feed Kyron the ball, especially when they're down. So I'm going to take under 18.5 rush attempts. Next one, it seems like there's a lot of elite rushing defenses in the playoffs. I guess there might be a correlation with that. But I'm going to take James Cook under 55.5 at -110. Ravens are another elite rush D. That's probably because you can pass on them pretty well. And I think the game's going to get out of hand. And I think there's going to be a lot of passing going on and not necessarily rushing. So I'm going to take Cooks under rushing yards.
This one is, I definitely looked at. Sorry, keep going.
Yep, no worries. And then how many more do I have left? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think you have 3 more.
3 more?
Yeah,
All right.
Yep.
Another elite rushing D, Kansas City. I think they're number 1 rush D in the league this year. I'm going to take Mixon's under 56.5 at -110. You can't really run on these teams. You got to they force you to pass it a little bit. And I think all 3 of these running backs, I think they kind of have to move away from the run game. So that's why I'm taking all these. Okay, and then back to the Ravens game. Game's going to get unhinged. Lamar's going to have a big day. I'm going to take his over 1.5 passing touchdowns at -115.
Great pick.
And then since I got the Daniels pick sniped for the rushing yards, I'm going to take his over passing attempts, over 32.5 attempts at -120 for my last pick. Daniels is going to have to pass the ball. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be chucking it. So I like this. I think that's it, right?
Yep, that's it.
Yep,
Super
that's
solid
it.
picks.
We're loaded up.
Lots of picks.
Four games, probably in almost 30 picks. And now we got to get into the touchdown parlay. So last week we had Henry, McConkey, Mixon. That hit at +560. And that is going to push us into the green for the rest of the season, right? We are above on the parlay itself, 5.5. And as far as the total for this category on the season, 31 and 26 plus 10 units.
It's on the other tab.
Yeah, I just don't have the units on that tab.
Got
But plus 10 units, 31 and 26, which is pretty remarkable for picking touchdown scores. This is where we have done a lot of good work. So we'll just go in order from our standings. So Stone, you can go first.
All right. Kind of chalky, but it's that time of year. We just got to pick the chalky guys, I feel like. That's who we're usually left. Saquon Barkley. I already picked Hurts, but I think Barkley is also going to have a touchdown in this game, and his line's at -160.
That's pretty low for Barkley.
That is pretty low.
That's pretty good. All right.
Connor, you can go. If we're going to pick chalky guys, I might change my guy. So
I'm not going to pick a chalky guy. I can go next. I'm ready. Let me just make sure it didn't move. I'm going to take Xavier Worthy. I think his workload has increased towards the end of the season. He is their fastest guy. I think he's become, their number 1 receiver outside of course, Kelsey, who we think is going to have a good game because it's the playoffs. But his number, I just liked it for touchdown, is 220. So I'm going to take Xavier Worthy for a touchdown.
Let me see. I think I'm going to pick this guy. I don't see him on the list yet.
Okay.
Tell me if you guys see Gibbs. Has Gibbs been taken?
I don't think I looked at
No,
his.
I
And I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure he
Gibbs
has not been taken.
I'm sure it's terrible. It's -260.
Yeah.
That's okay. Get yourself a win. It's the last
exactly.
week.
Exactly. I mean, if you do 3 260s in a row, you can get back to even odds.
Well, this isn't too bad.
The Worthy pick kind of
that helps.
this out.
Yeah, plus 620.
So Barkley, Gibbs,
It's better
Worthy
than
plus
better than
620.
last week.
Yeah, it'll be higher than last week. Lock this in, get to 11 units on the season, and then close out the season. Does anybody have anything in closing? Anything?
I hope I'm
I don't
not
think so.
last.
Yeah, I hope
It,
I'm not
it was a
last too.
pleasure. It was a pleasure whipping your guys' ass all season.
Yeah, I'm
Hopefully,
always appreciative of everyone's time, even at the bottom of the leaderboard. 39th episode. Missed one this season, so we would have got to 40. So our 40th one will be the first week of next year. I appreciate everyone for watching and everyone for joining us, and we'll see you guys in a couple months.
Go Chiefs. I still got a future out there, buddy.
yeah.